We're having all kinds of audio issues. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Unfiltered Truth. I am your host, Phil Robinson, and my thing is doing something funny, but it doesn't even matter. We got our special weekly guest, the incomparable swole reporter himself, Raiders digital reporter, Mr. Levi Edwards. So, without any further ado, let's get it cracking. What up? What up? We're back, and I forgot to tell you one additional bit of program and detail. The Unfiltered Truth is now in partnerships with Sideline Sports Network, so you will be able to see all of your favorite Unfiltered Truth content along with Sideline Sports Network. Jones, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just getting a laugh out of your hiccups on here.
Hey,
You forgot to hit the live button. That's why I was like, oh, wait, let me hit the live button for you.
Oh, we went the live button. No, video. We're doing a couple things here. Things are happening, but we'll get through it. Mr. Edwards, pleasure as always, sir. Good to have you on the show.
Most definitely.
Let's get into it. We saw the Raiders take on the Dolphins in an interesting game that ended up with a 15-13 finish. A game where the run game took a little while to get going. I know that you had come out and you had forecasted 150 yards, and by golly, you came up 6 short. But
I said they were averaging nearly 150. So, I thought they were going to run the ball. They did run the ball. I feel like they also did a lot of trying to get Garbers as many reps as he could. I appreciated that, just to kind of give us a little bit more of an evaluation of what he can do. I was actually thoroughly impressed by how he played in the second half. Phil, I know he was a guy that you covered when he was at Cal, and I knew that he was a mobile quarterback considering his stat line and the things that I had seen on film. So I got to see his wheels in person. He's a pretty quick cat. So I really appreciated getting to see him play, and we'll see what happens on his journey to making the 53.
Absolutely. So, moving to that, the big news of the day, or one of the big newses of the day, was Nick Mullens being traded to the Vikings for a conditional 2024 pick.
Yes. It's kind of one of those interesting things that happened, I would definitely say. I when it comes down to it, Nick didn't do anything to lose the job. Jared just went out and won it. That's really what it just came down to. They're both very adequate quarterbacks, and when it came down to it, I believe that McDaniels and his staff probably thought to themselves, we want to take 2 guys into the 53-man. So they decided they wanted Carr and they wanted Stidham, but they knew that Mullens was too good of an asset to cut. He was not going to clear waivers. I firmly believe that. So they decided to, take what they had and get whatever asset they could for it. And I appreciate everything that Nick did for the organization. He played well in the 3 preseason games that he did play. Really good guy. Just kind of getting to know him a little bit. I got love for him. We're both from the Ham. He's a Ham high school football legend at Spain Park. So I'm always gonna have love for my 205 boys. But I wish him the best in Minnesota.
Absolutely. I noticed. I was like, well, this is going to be an interesting morning. And then we get hit with the other news of
the Raiders. It's not official. He can't talk about that
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. You caught me. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, the news that you were referring to, I will definitely talk about once it is official, whether a release or a trade is made at a later date.
My
What I
apologies for that one.
But what I will say is that the rest of the running back room is very strong. And like I just said about Nick Mullens, it's the exact same situation where you have four other running backs on this roster that I've seen that just has not done anything to lose their job. You have Jacobs, you have Zamir White, who's come in and been a really great rookie so far. You have Amir Abdullah, who possesses many traits of catching the ball, running the ball, and in special teams. You have Brandon Bolden, who's very familiar with the system. And even though he's the oldest guy on the team, when I see him out there practicing, he looks just as good as any other 22, 23-year-old that's trying to make this roster. And then you have the emergence of Britton Brown, their seventh round pick, who has led the team in rushing yards their past two preseason games. So when it comes down to it, you have five other really great options, not good options, just a studded, really deep running back room. So even with everything that has unofficially happened, I feel very confident with the running back room.
There'd be no reason to think that it wouldn't. But I'm more curious about what happened. What did you see with the offensive line in that game? Because I went back and I looked at the stat box numbers, and the yards per carry average initially was very low. Nobody was doing very much of anything until Britton Brown got loose later on at the end of the game.
I didn't notice that as well. It's still a offensive line that is trying to develop. Cole Miller and Thayer Munford didn't make the trip for whatever reasons, for rest and recovery, of course. So you had a lot of other guys that still were on the trip that are still trying to fight for their positions. And I think that what I like about what McDaniels and those guys are trying to do is they're trying to put the best five out there. And so I'm now at the point with the offensive line where you got to throw away positions. You got to throw away like, okay, well, this guy plays center, this guy plays guard, this guy plays tackle, so this is where he has to play. I would completely throw that out of the window, and I would see each guy on this offensive line as an offensive lineman, as a football player. And I really do truly believe that does not matter which position, whether it's a center or a guard or a tackle, they are going to figure out what are the best five guys they can put on this line. And they've said that time after time throughout training camp, throughout the offseason. So I truly believe that at this point.
So the offensive line is going to be five positionless guys of the best football players they have meeting those qualifications.
Yes. 100%. And even with people that think Colton Miller is locked in at left tackle, I mean, of course, Colton Miller is probably going to start. I'm not going to act like he's not going to start. I'm just saying, it is very unpredictable at this point. For all we know, week one pulls up and you have Colton Miller playing left tackle, right tackle. You just don't know at this point. I feel like this is a very competitive group that are fighting for five spots. And it's not like, two guys that are competing for, guys that are competing to be a guard, guys that are competing to be a center, guys that are competing to be a tackle. It is five guys competing to be on one starting offensive line at this point.
Interesting. Jordan Jenkins, that's a tough break for that man. It looked like it was a non-contact injury that when he was trying to break down to get the quarterback on the safety attempt for him.
Yeah, it was really sad to see just because he had just came with the team. He got about one or two practices underneath his belt before making the trip. So it was a lot on him just to come into a new situation and play so early out of the gate. And he looked like he was doing well, and him getting, the pressure on Bridgewater and kind of flushing him over to the right side of the end zone when Bolton got him. his pressure is what led to that play. So seeing him go down in that fashion is very sad. You never like to see anyone get hurt. Preseason, regular season, postseason, working out, whenever. You always hate to see it. You always want to beat somebody at their best, and you always want to be at your best as a team. So I wish Mr. Jenkins a speedy recovery.
Absolutely. Got to be healthy. And I know we're jumping through this, going a little quick because I know you didn't have a full hour to stay and chat. We got a chance. Did we see Rock Ya-Sin? I'm pretty sure I saw him.
Yeah, he was out there.
Yeah, he was
along
out
with
there.
Anthony Averett as well.
Yeah.
What did you think of those two while they were out there?
I thought they looked decent. I will definitely say they're two guys that did very well with the mental reps. I know they were kind of banged up doing their thing during training camp, so they missed a couple of practices and they came back. So to see them out on the field was very promising. I believe that they are comprehending the defense well. Of course, they got to get a couple more reps in that practice, and we'll see if they play anymore during this next preseason game against the Patriots. I would definitely wouldn't say that they were rusty by any means, but I definitely would say that they need to get some more reps in. And I think that they will be one of the most right now. How I told you guys last week when I was on here is I feel that the cornerback secondary room is just extremely underrated. You look at the unit and you don't see like a star name, or you don't see any like, all pro or Pro Bowl kind of guy that,
right.
Glares at you, but it's a very solid unit and they play well together. So it's just a matter of time, especially with the way that Patrick Graham has been cooking up things. And you also have to, when it comes down to it, they surrendered 13 points to the Dolphins in a preseason game. And it's pretty impressive. And, they had only given up 6 points going into the fourth quarter. So I really like what Patrick Graham's been doing. And I truly believe that Rock Ya-Sin and Anthony Averett will fulfill those needs in those positions.
Absolutely. Have you had an opportunity to get some eyes on Bilal Nichols in pads?
Yeah, he's looked great. I definitely think he's looked great. He has fresh legs. He's a guy that I was really impressed with when we played the Bears last year, and their defensive line looked great. Whatever deficiencies the Bears did have last year, it definitely wasn't on their line with Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn and Nichols. Those guys looked really good up front. So when we were able to get him, and I know he's a guy that was formerly connected with Champ when he was in Chicago, so he can vouch for him. I really like his composure. He seems like an all business all the time kind of guy, especially coming from the background that he came from as a FCS guy. He just seems like he's ready to go. He just seems very intimidating, I would say. If I had to come up with a word to describe Bilal Nichols, it would be intimidating. Whether it's on the field, whether it's just around the building. I like him a lot. He's looked really good last week in practice.
That is great to hear, because I know that last week we were talking about how the run defense had some deficiencies, and this week they held them to 37 total yards.
Yeah,
37 yards, and another guy that came back, Hankins,
big play Hank.
Hankins, big play Hank. I think he looked great against the Dolphins. Him and Deshaun Bauer plugging the middle. I thought they did a fabulous job against the Dolphins. And he's a guy that has started so many games for the Raiders, and he kind of fell off the face of the earth during training camp because of his injury and being put on the PUP list. And people were, waiting for him to come back. And seeing what I saw in Miami was extremely promising. And I wouldn't even really say promising because, he's done it. He's been there. But it looked good. It was refreshing. That's the word I'm looking for. It looked refreshing seeing him back on the field.
It was that presence that the Raiders needed that we were missing from those last two preseason games. I mean, yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Andrew Billings as well, and then Pecco, but having Hankins back, man, just having him clog up the middle and just stop the run, I miss that.
And I want, for all you viewers out there, if you want to do your research, look at some stats. Hankins had some of his best years of his career under Patrick Graham in New York. So I was not surprised when he resigned. I think this is a guy that Graham really wanted to keep and see what he could do in his defense, knowing that he had prior success. So God willing, I hope he makes the 53 and everything goes well and he can provide a good run stopper for this Raiders defense, especially, right beside Chandler and Crosby.
Give me if you can give me your assessment on DJ Turner.
Versatile, very versatile guy. Very good route runner. He has very good game speed. That's what I would definitely say. His game speed is remarkable because you look up his 40 times of what he ran at Pittsburgh, and it was like a 4.55 at his pro day, and he just does not look like a 4.55 guy. He looks a lot faster than that when you watch him in practice and when you watch him during the games. I also like that he has some return and kick and punt return experience when he was at Pittsburgh. So he's a guy that I think is really trying to fight hard for his spot. And I also believe that he's in favor of the coaching staff as well. They like what they've seen from him as well. They've held him in high regards throughout training camp. So definitely a guy that plays really fast in games. And he's a hard worker for sure.
And you were talking about his route running. Has it looked better than what you saw last year during preseason versus this year?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really get a full view of what DJ Turner could be last year during training camp. I believe that when the last regime brought him in, they kind of saw him as someone that was going to be a special teams guy. So they really mostly only had him out there during special teams. And now he's getting put in spots where he's running with the ones and he's running with the twos in reps. Not saying he's gonna start. I'm just saying he's on the field a lot more this training camp than he was last season, where he was just kind of fielding punts and kicks because that's what they believed his skill set would be. So I've gotten to see a lot more of what DJ Turner could be as a full receiver this training camp. So I guess to answer your question in a super long-winded way that I just did, yes, he has looked a lot better than he did last year.
He's like, finally I can breathe.
Yes. I should have just said, yeah. Yes, he looks better.
Okay. He's like, yo, is there anything else?
One around, yeah, he looks better. I like DJ. I like this receiver room, from top down, from Devontae all the way to Turner, even with Stoner coming back, and he's looked good in the snaps that he's gotten at practice since he's returned. I really like what I've been seeing. It's really just another deep competitive room.
That's good, and that's what you want to go into the regular season. You want to have a solid room all around.
What were some of the? I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was just going to say, what were some of the things that you noticed, good, bad, and ugly from the Dolphins game? Just out of curiosity. Win is a win. I got to start.
Never apologize. Never apologize.
So, for starters, me being someone that's played on the O-line, I was pulling my hair out, okay? Because there were certain things that I saw, looking at Lester Cotton getting beat with a basic swim. If that's
third week in a row.
If someone's going into that step, even if it seems like you're getting ready to get beat, you need to be able to slide that foot over, and you can still take that guy out of play, or at least give your quarterback enough time to get rid of that ball. But I was just like, no, you should not be letting this guy beat you like this. And I get it, he's working against the ones, but still, I mean, if you want a starting job, you got to be ready for anything.
Yeah, that was kind of. I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody.
I know, and I'm trying
definitely,
to keep it from you.
Right.
Doing
I will say, and this was something that I asked McDaniels post game is, how did you feel seeing how your guys competed in the 1 or 2 series or the first quarter against, their ones, and he was satisfied, but at the same time, it's that belief where it doesn't matter where you are on this team. You need to, if you want to be a one, you gotta play like you are. And all these guys are in the NFL, so it doesn't matter if you're if you're going to be a starter, if you're a practice squad guy, you got to play with the same intensity. And so I definitely understand that, because I think a lot of people were just like, okay, well, the Raiders left all of their starters at home, and you got Tua playing in the first series, and you got the whole starting defense playing. So I think a lot of people expected the game to go another way. So even though there's a lot of things that they can work on, especially up front, I believe that they played very well with the roster that they fielded. Yeah, for sure.
Now, I will give a bright spot on that O-line. I will say that Dylan Parham looked at the left guard position, did a very good job.
Yeah. Slight plug to Raiders.com real quick. I believe about 2 weeks ago, there was a mailbag question where somebody asked me who was the most impressive rookie to me. And, of course, everybody thought I was going to say Zamir White, because that's the obvious cliche choice to make. But honestly, from what I've seen, Dylan Parham, I would say, has been the most impressive rookie I've seen in this class. And I think even though he's a rookie and everybody's going to have rookie pains, you can definitely tell he has a high football IQ. He's very quick off the line of scrimmage. And I do truly believe that him playing on the defensive line in the previous life helped him to be the guard center position that they're kind of molding him into, because he knows the mannerisms of the defensive line. He knows the things that they're going to do beforehand, and different rushes, things like that. So I really like Dylan a lot. Good guy. And he just has a really good athleticism to him that you need for that position.
And no, in stating that out, playing on the D line in his previous life, that is a major help for someone that's going on and becoming an offensive lineman. And, with him also playing other positions on the line, just playing with guard, right guard, and tackle, and even tight end.
Yeah, he played. I believe he played tight end in high school, and then he got converted over to a defensive end when he first got to Memphis. And then I think about a year or two in, I think a year after his freshman year, they were like, well, you could be a good offensive lineman if you just gain the weight, learn the position this offseason. And he blocked for some really good running backs when he was at Memphis. He had a lot of, don't sleep on Memphis. He had a lot of good guys to play with. Yeah, they had a solid run, or they're having a solid run in, I believe they're in the American Conference. So, them in Houston are basically always competing against each other for, who's at the top of that. So Memphis has played some really good football, and he had a lot of good people around him, and he continues to have good people around him. Yeah. Still feeling a little mad.
I didn't even say it. It wasn't even me, dog. But
think about it. Yeah, he was blocking for Antonio Gibson.
I believe Pollard.
Wasn't that Tony Pollard as well?
Yeah, he was another one.
Yeah, he had a string of about 3 or 4 NFL guys he was blocking for. Kenneth Gainwell, I believe he's with the Eagles.
With Philly.
With Philly. So he had a lot of guys that he blocked for. So I mean, if anything, he knows how to run block. But I as we've seen the first 3 games, we know that the Raiders can run block.
Yeah,
they have proven that. They've proven that they can run block for really good running backs. So that's if anybody needs to take away from what they've seen from the Raiders so far this preseason, they can block for good running backs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest takeaway of the game for you, Levi? And I'll tell you what mine was.
Okay, biggest takeaway. Honestly, the biggest takeaway I will say is not really just a takeaway just from the game in general, but just from the preseason in general. And that's the fact that this just seems to be a much cleaner football team that doesn't beat themselves. We've all watched the Raiders last year, and one of their big Achilles heels was penalties and turnovers. They a lot of times have to win games where they had penalty problems and they did not win the turnover battle. So the fact that the Raiders went 10-7 and they didn't do particularly well in those two things is a blessing, I would definitely say. So now you bring in a coach that is very detail oriented and he wants to play clean football, which I believe every coach wants to play clean football, of course, but that's a big priority for them. So, they had barely any penalties and they won the turnover battle. And those were the two things that I noticed against the Dolphins. And that was the same thing that I noticed against the Jaguars and the same thing that I noticed against the Vikings is that they won the battle in turnovers, they won the battle in time of possession, and they won the battle in penalties. And those are the three things that you need to do if you want to beat a team.
Absolutely. And as a whole for the preseason, I'd agree. The cleanliness, the attention, the discipline, the attention to detail, like the not committing the mental penalty, the silly mental mistakes is absolutely going to be the biggest difference for this football team than last year. Yeah. But with that being said, this defense should have put up 9 points.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yes, sir. Yep.
The defense put up points. And I've watched them all preseason and they attack the football. And it's not just that they're attacking the football, they're getting to the football. They're popping the football out. They're taking interceptions. They're doing everything that needs to be done on defense that we have screamed about since before you were covering the Raiders.
And even when a ball gets batted down, they're not going to I noticed the effort where it's like, when a ball gets batted down, it's kind of out of your reach, you'll be like, oh man, no, they're still chasing. You got guys in the secondary, you got linebackers. If a ball gets batted and they see it's still in the air, they might not get to it, but they're gonna chase it full speed. Yeah. They're gonna try to get that turnover. And great takeaway, because that is something that in my 2 years of covering the Raiders, turnovers. The team has just not been able to have as great a success in getting turnovers. And that just seems like a huge priority now. Sam Webb, my guy, I'm sorry about it. You should have had a return to the house.
Ooh, he was robbed.
You should have had 7. That would have been something great to have for your highlight reel, something great that you need to have to make this 53-man roster or practice squad. You needed that. And I'm sorry the refs took it away from you, but I'm not going to say too much about the refs. I'm not trying to get fined or anything. I don't know how much.
But nobody is, especially playing for the Raiders.
But I will say they got. I will say this: they got the call correct. It might have not been 7, but they got the call correct. It was a fumble, and we got the ball back, and the Dolphins were going down the field and scoring position, and that would have been, if not a touchdown, 3 points, if it was not for that fumble with about less than a minute left to go in the first half. So you got to take what they can give you, and it is what it is. Do. But great play, great heads up play by Sam Webb, and he's a guy that, D2 guy. Excuse me, D2 guy, Missouri Western, I believe is the school that he went to, and I think he's just had a really good training camp.
Yeah,
I believe that he's done everything to soak in the veteran guys around him. He's been doing everything he can to soak in the everything, the moment. It doesn't seem like it's getting too big for him right now. I really like what I've seen from him. I think he's had a great training camp. Definitely one of the under the radar guys, in my opinion, that I've noticed that I've really enjoyed watching play. And he's made some play. He's made some plays in practice, and now he's made some plays in the game. So I'm interested to see how it works out for him.
I am as well, but just it's not just Webb. It's been Abrams. It's been Darius Phillips has gotten in a couple of times and made some plays. It's refreshing to see guys making plays from the top of the depth chart all the way down. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. It's a beautiful thing when your coach is up late at night figuring out who doesn't get to make it.
Oh yeah, it sucks. It sucks when you have to cut guys and try to, because it's at the same time it's their livelihoods and it's their dream. Right. But at the same time, that's a great position to have. You don't want to have a locker room of guys where you're just like, okay, well, yeah, we know we're gonna cut 40 of these dudes. You want to have some competition. You want to have some long nights where you're just like, man, like I don't know, like, are we gonna keep this guy? Is he worthy to make the team? Are we scared about cutting him because he might not clear? Like, is he worthy enough to like where we need to keep him because we can't let him go? Because he's not going to be there for practice squad. Like, that's a lot of, and it's guys across the border where you look at guys like Luke Masterson, Darian Butler, Sam Webb, Britton Brown. These are guys that are going to be tough to cut because you don't know if they're going to make it. They might be on somebody else's 53 if you cut them. Yeah. Just by the way that they've looked this preseason. Yeah. So it's definitely a good problem to have. For sure, like you said, Phil.
The best problem to have.
Literally.
We got too much talent.
Yeah, no, you have teams that, when it's time for cuts, you're going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to take you, or we're going to take, that's some people's problem. It's a lot better to be on the other end where you're just like, man, we just got so much talent. I really wish we couldn't cut all these dudes. I wish we had a 60, 70 man, bro.
Yeah, look, all we got is 53, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's a great problem to have.
So I know a lot of folks are not even looking into this, but that third spot at tight end, Jesper Horsted and Jacob Hollister, is that looking like a battle going on?
You know what? Let me throw in another dude in there, Nick Bowers. He's pretty good.
He's finally coming on.
Oh,
he's looked pretty good in training camp, and he's made some catches so far in the preseason. So it definitely is a battle for that third tight end spot.
Jesper had some nasty. He made some tough catches.
He made some
Miami. I was like, whoo.
He made some fire catches. And honestly, Jesper's been on my board for a minute because I remember when he came into our crib and he scored on us in Chicago because I remember when Justin Fields, he rolled around, hit him in the end zone, and he made a nice grab on us. So Jesper's been on my radar for a minute. I remember as soon as we made that signing, I was like, you that dude on that touchdown against Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known he could do that. And so you have him going up against Hollister, who is an experienced veteran who has success and who has familiarity with the coaching staff. And then you also throw in Bowers, who's looked well and has that continuity of already being with the locker room and having relationships with the guys. And they work well together. So definitely a battle between the three.
So here's an interesting. So we were talking about tight end 3, and I'm trying to think. We haven't heard anything about Foster. How's Foster been looking?
He's been doing his thing.
Yeah,
he's been doing his thing. He looked really good against Jacksonville. I liked what I saw from him there. Definitely looks like he's continuing to improve his blocking. Looks like he's even gotten in better shape through the offseason. Very quiet offseason for Foster, but definitely is a guy that I believe is in the favor of the coaching staff and the locker room as well. And when they start running those 2 tight end sets with Darren, it's going to look as well as it has always looked, if not better, especially with McDaniels and the system that he runs. So, that actually really is a great question, just because, a lot of people you talk about Darren, and then you talk about the guys competing for the 3rd spot, and then you kind of forget about Foster a little bit in the shuffle. But he's still productive, and he's looked good this training camp. And I expect him to continue to have that success with the relationship he has with Derek Carr. They have chemistry. And I think that's what I love about just this offense as a whole is you have a plethora of guys that have established chemistry with your quarterback, which is what you need. You don't have guys that are coming in and you're still trying to work out the kinks of things. You're still trying to figure stuff out. He has established chemistry with Devontae, Renfro, Waller, Moreau. Those are 4 guys that he has at least, 40 balls with, 30, at least 30, 40 balls in the game with at the very minimum. So it's going to be nice.
Oh, man.
Let's see.
I'm trying to think if I can ask you this.
But while he's thinking about that, I've got an all-important question.
Dude.
How's Alex? I mean, we're taught we look at him as a football player, but honestly, I'm kind of worried about it. How is Alex the person? I mean, I'm not going to ask you to share nothing personal, obviously, but I know he's working and doing his best out there. But with all the noise, I would hate for it to be getting to him.
That's the one thing I will say about Alex the person is he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that lets outside noise get to him that much.
Okay.
Just in exchanges with the media, just kind of seeing him around the building. Of course he wants to play better for himself, but for himself alone and for his livelihood alone. I don't think he wants to play well for all of the trolls coming at him on Twitter, for the people, saying they need to move him back to guard and all that kind of stuff. I think he just wants to play well enough to where he can make this team and have a big role in what this offense is doing. So I really don't think he really cares much about the noise. I don't think he's let it get to him. He has a very good demeanor, very level-headed guy, very intelligent guy. So I think he's just going to keep on doing his thing.
Cool. You got anything else for Mr. Edwards, Phil?
I can't put my finger on it, I mean, most of the stuff he's, we really hit on a lot of the stuff. I mean, you got the joint practice tomorrow, and then
I guess I'll end with this. I'll end with a question for you guys. What is the matchup that you guys are most intrigued about hearing about in these joint practices?
Ooh. Well, to be honest, your starting 5 O-line versus the Patriots D-line. And
that's mine personally.
I'm also going to say our wide receiver group versus the DBs. I want to see how they're going to step up. And then my last is I want to see how our I say our DBs be able to handle what they have for their receiving group. But I'll say more or less, really it's our D-line versus the O-line. I want to see that line in the trenches. I mean, that's where it all starts. And if you look at a lot of teams, the teams that were able to win or, won a Super Bowl, it started in the trenches.
It's fact.
So I want to see what our D line can do since we
And
got
for me,
Nichols and Jonathan Hankins back. So I want to see what they can do, adding with Crosby and Jones all together.
and I have never, ever been so eager to see Derek Carr get out and do his thing with his receivers as I have been this year. I feel like that you guys are just hiding it from me. I can't see it. I've been waiting to see it. We've watched this run game all preseason, and it's fine. It's great. I love it that we got a strong running game that if all else fails, we can pound that rock.
Yep.
But let's keep it real. Said this passing game is Josh McDaniel's baby, and he's kept it quiet and he's not let anybody see it. I want to see it. I want to hear about it. I want to see sexy play alert, sexy play alert, sexy play alert. You know, these boys is out here killing them. Sexy play alert.
I'll see if I can keep you guys posted on these sexy plays tomorrow or and Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Me personally, like you were saying, I really want to see the battle of the line of scrimmage. I want to see what our D line looks against their O line, which I feel the Patriots have a very good offensive line. And I want to see our offensive line versus our defensive versus their defensive line. Me personally, just of course, I'm just like everybody else. I'm a fan of the NFL. I'm a fan of players, and I like Matthew Judon. He's a guy that I followed throughout the duration of his career, and I just like the way that he plays. Just with the instincts and the strength that he has, that he possesses at his position. I think that he will be a great guy to get reps against as an offensive line. And also, you just got to, I know Maxx, my guy Maxx, he's a student of the game, and he really is. And I know that he's going to be on the opposite sideline looking at some stuff Matthew's doing, thinking to himself, you know what, let me see how I can add this a little bit to what I can do. So I'm really excited to see how the two square up. And I also know that Judon is a huge fan of Crosby's game, and he respects what Crosby does and the motor that he plays with. So I think, Judon, he's going to be looking back on the other sideline too, seeing what Crosby's going to cook up. You know what I mean? So I really am excited to see that line of scrimmage battle. So expect a good bit of coverage from me on that for sure. All y'all watching, tune in Raiders.com. I'll see what I can cook for y'all.
Right on. So I got one last non-football related question on the way out. Who let Bill Belichick up in the training center and the facility with the keys? Do we not know what this man is capable of?
No comment. We just, Vegas hospitality, they came in, they wanted to get a practice in. He said that our facilities are quote unquote magnificent. They are. He wasn't lying. That wasn't a cap. They are magnificent.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he enjoyed his time. And I saw that, he had a couple of comments about Mr. Davis. And, he put him on the Mount Rushmore of NFL owners or just NFL personalities in general, which rightfully so. So, definitely glad that we've earned his respect. And, even though Josh is going to do his own thing and he is his own person, that's still his mentor. They spend a lot of time together. They have a lot of respect for each other. So, we're just showing some hospitality. That's all we're doing.
Who do you think is going to win the right tackle spot? This is a question from, doesn't quite look like the Raiders page, but
I don't know, man.
That's a great answer.
Raider $1.99.
Hey, if you pay, I'll ask. That's how it works.
No clue. I really have no idea. I'm gonna be for real with y'all. I'm sorry. That's not even me. Just as the team reporter that's trying to be secretive and not give out anything. I really do not know. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I'm gonna say it to end the episode. They're gonna put the best 5 guys on this line. Take out whatever position somebody's supposed to be playing, They're going to put the best 5 blockers on the line. That's all I'll say.
All I can really tell you is this, Levi. Just go back to the headquarters and just run a virus protection scan on your servers.
We have top.
Your security team
bro.
needs to be running for surveillance, counter surveillance, and all of that. I'm just saying.
Shout out to my guy, Security Bob. He's got it on lockdown. My guy, Security Bob.
Hey.
While they're there, you should be running a different VPN as well.
Man, all of that. And have a dummy playbook. Don't hide the playbook. Have a dummy playbook.
Well, I mean, we're all professionals, so we're all professionals. I'll leave it at that.
Right on. Ladies and gentlemen, the incomparable Levi Edwards, Phil Jones, I'm Phil Robinson. This is the Unfiltered Truth presented by Sideline Sports Network. Take care. God bless.